about that. We open our lines too, so that you make your contributions. And some people made some very vital contributions. So on issues in perspective today, we'll be looking at national and international issues. Nationally, we'll look at the invasion of Umuahia. That is during the Nigeria Civil War. Some people call it the Nigeria Biafra War, but I personally decided to call it the Nigeria Civil War. On the 24th of December 1969, Nigerian forces invaded Umuahia, the then capital city of the secessionist state of Biafra. And Umar Farouk Abdul Muttalab attempted to bomb himself and 288 others on the United States Airlines en route Lagos through Amsterdam to Detroit. We'll talk about that. He's now cooling off somewhere, possibly enjoying himself. I don't know, but he's somewhere relaxing. Then on the 28th of December 2018, an elder statesman and former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Alhaji Shehu Usman Shagari, died of ailment at the Abuja National Hospital here in Nigeria. We'll look at this man who became president on the 1st of October 1979 and was illegally removed from office on the 31st of December 1983. And we are going to recommend books for you to study today. If you want to build yourself, you have to study. And for parents listening to this show now, if you really want your child to grow up into a responsible citizen with high IQ, you have to ensure and encourage your children to read books. Encourage your children to study. As I will always say, if you really want to know the Nigerian story, you have to study Nigeria. You have to read books. And it's not just about Nigeria. If you have to read. The world is a very small place. The world is a small place, so you have to read. You have to study. Encourage your children to read books. And we told you yesterday about the Buhari years. Yes, on the 31st of December, he seized power and became head of state. Then internationally, on 31st December 1981, a military rebellion in Ghana led to the forceful removal of President Hali Liman's PNP national government and replaced it with the Provisional National Defense Council led by Flight Lieutenant J.J. Rawlings. We'll talk about that. And we'll also recommend books so that you study. Then on 24th December 2018, a helicopter crash killed Marta Erika Alonso, the first female governor of the state of Puebla in Mexico, and her husband, Rafael Moreno Villarosas, a former governor, who was incumbent senator at the time. Marta Erika Alonso was only governor for 10 days before she was killed in that ill-fated helicopter crash in Mexico. We'll look at that. Then, on the 25th of December 1831, the Great Jamaican Slave Revolt began against Jamaican British slave lords. We'll talk about that and also recommend books so that you study. On 29 December 1940, as a fallout of World War II, Nazi Germany unleashed a firebombing campaign on the city of London in what is today known as the Second Great Fire of London in England, killing almost 200 civilians. That was the fallout of World War II. We'll look at that. There are several accounts on the World War that you can study. Several accounts on the World War. Then on the 30th of December 2006, former president of Iraq, Saddam Hussein, was executed by hanging. We'll look at that and also recommend books. I'm going on this music break, and when we come back, we'll continue with the show. The song is this song is Aguyan by LD. Please just listen to this song. Listen to this song very well. Listen to this song very well, and think of what the musician was talking about, or what he is talking about on the song. Then let's come back and discuss. We'll open our lines early so that you could make your contributions. Today is the 24th day of December 2025. We just have hours to Christmas. I think a lot of us are preparing to enjoy ourselves already, or we started this celebration already. I'm permitted to use that word. We know the economy is tight, but we can still look for a way, no matter how little, to enjoy ourselves. We'll be back.
Leadership, politics, power. Discover what it all means. It's a class on history, a guide to today. From national debates to global diplomacy.
But I'm going to introduce myself.
This is ISSIUES.
You know, introduce yourself today.
Mbum Ferdinand. On rhythm 93.7 jars.
Yes.
Morning clarity, Monday through Wednesday, 9 a.m. Put in the news in context.
trendybeats.com.
Nobody won't die, but everybody won't go heaven. You see me? As you see me, so me I go yarn, me I go speak my mind, me I go yarn. Them things say we blind, we yarn. Why are my people so poor? We can't take this no more. Me I go yarn, me I go speak my mind, me I go yarn. Them things say we blind, we yarn. Why are my people so poor? We can't take this no more. As I reach Yankee, I see say the life where my people then they live, na nonsense. As I reach Yankee, I see say to solve our problem we know hard, common sense. Then they come here, then they see the way where everything been they walk, but they just ignore. Them go reach house, go from the policies we go make them to rich and my people to poor. It don't take, where we done they die, where we done they hustle, where we done they die. It don't take, where they chop money, while the average child for road is hungry. Me I go yarn, me I go speak my mind, me I go yarn. Them things say we blind, we yarn. Why are my people so poor? We can't take this no more. Me I go yarn, me I go speak my mind, me I go yarn. Them things say we blind, we yarn. Why are my people so poor? We can't take this no more. We get the land, plenty land, plenty farm. We get the energy. Plenty oil, plenty sun. Water day, Jaburata, River Niger day, River Benue day. But for ordinary man, simple things to enjoy we no fit to get. Water come, we no get. Light to come, we no get. Ordinary food to chop, we no get. Ordinary house to sleep, we no get. Water come, we no get. Light to come, we no get. Ordinary food to chop, we no get. Ordinary house to sleep, we no get. Me I go yarn, me I go speak my mind, me I go yarn. Them things say we blind and we yarn. Why are my people so poor? We can't take this no more. Me I go yarn, me I go speak my mind, me I go yarn. Them things say we blind and we yarn. Why are my people so poor? We can't take this no more. I never tire to be young. I go speak my thoughts. Cause time don't reach for my people. Casala to boss. I spell like young till them go. But my people no see. Politicians still the young girls from top TV. We put satellite for space, but we no get light. Or we didn't blow my people still. We no one fight. We be the top 5 richest oil nation for globe. But my people no fit afford kerosene for stove. We never finish. Civilians don't come. Now all of them they chop our money ton by ton. Remember 84, we be the beg and you made the stay. $1.05 naira day. So poor, we can't take this no more. Me I go yarn, me I go speak my mind, me I go yarn. And they say we blind, we yarn. Why are my people so poor? We can't take this no more.
Leadership, politics, power. Discover what it all means. It's a class on history, a guide to today. From national
Calls are already coming in.
diplomacy. This is ISSIUES in perspective with Mbum Ferdinand. on rhythm 93.7 Jaws.
Sir, I'll take them back.
Clarity Monday through Wednesday, 9 a.m. Put in the news in context.
Can I pick it? Oh, no.
Yeah, the number to call is 080-6464-1536. That's the number to call to make your contribution on any issues, anything you want to talk about, so that we can discuss. Yeah. So today is the 24th of December, as you are aware, and today charity will begin from home. We're going to talk about national issues before going internationally, and we are beginning with the 24th December 1969 capture of Umuahia by federal forces, the capital city of the secessionist state of Biafra, following heavy mortar combat and huge casualties on both sides. The invasion of Umuahia actually started on 20th December, 4 days earlier. The invasion of Umuahia occurred during the final stages of the Nigeria Civil War and happened within 15 days of Biafran surrender. Ever since the early stages of the war, both sides had been fighting for control of Imo State. Imo State was particularly important due to its capital, Owerri. Owerri was first invaded by federal forces on September 17, 1968 during Operation OAU, and it was kept under Nigerian control until the capture of Owerri in early 1969. Oguta had been attacked many times before, and it became an important city during the war. It lay directly in the path of Owerri, but it was heavily fortified by Biafran soldiers under the command of Colonel Timothy Onwantwegu. Many roads connecting Oguta and Owerri to Nigerian controlled cities were purposely destroyed by Biafran soldiers to delay attacks by the Nigerian army. After the large Nigerian loss at Owerri, the daredevil commander of the 3rd Marine Commando, Colonel Benjamin Adekunle, was replaced by Colonel Olusegun Obasanjo. Since Oguta had been gained and lost 2 times in the last year, Nigerian head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, ordered a final attack on Oguta and Owerri. In May of 1969, Colonel Murtala Mohammed and Colonel Mohammed Shua made their ways towards Oguta. Following the transfer of Onwantwegu from Oguta, Biafran President Odumegwu Ojukwu ordered Colonel Omorowa Agbara and Joseph Achuzie to defend the city. Before the arrival of the Nigerians, Joseph Hannibal Achuzie was able to destroy the Port Harcourt-Owerri Road and the Owerri-Onitsha Road. In late May 1969, Colonel Mohammed Shua arrived with a large force of men in downtown Oguta. A large gun battle ensued and ended with the retreat of Shua's men and over 500 dead on both sides. Olusegun Obasanjo arrived with Murtala Mohammed in July of 1969 with over 30 tanks and over 10,000 men. Obasanjo's men surrounded the city and began shelling the city. Over 30% of the city's population fled, with over 2,200 civilians killed or wounded in the crossfire. The Biafrans managed to keep Oguta under their control for another 3 months, but lost it when Olusegun Obasanjo invaded the city with full force on the 9th of October 1969. Even though Oguta was captured by the Nigerians, they were unable to capture Owerri. The war remained at a stalemate until the invasion of Umuahia on 24 December 1969. The Biafran capital moved to Owerri, and there it stayed until the surrender of the secessionist state of Biafra to Nigeria on January 12, 1970. There are books that you can read if you really want to abreast yourself with the Nigeria Civil War. And I'm recommending these books particularly for young children, for growing up kids. Parents, please allow your children to read books. These books are important. As I will always say, the Nigerian Revolution and the Biafran War is a very important story about the Nigeria Biafra War, and particularly the revolution, the January 15 and the July 29 counter-revolutions of 1966, the Araba test riots, That is the May riot that broke out in Kaduna on the 29th of May, 1966. All these experiences are in this book. So the book is very important. I will always recommend it to anyone to read. The Nigerian Revolution and the Biafran War by Major General Alexander Madiebo. Get that book. Then there's also this book, Nigeria Biafra War, My Experience, by General Philip Effiong. That's another book you can read. Though there are a lot of stories, a lot of accounts of the Nigeria Biafra War. There are plenty accounts. I can tell you that for free. But I'm personally recommending these two for you to read. Then let's leave there. Let's go to 2009. Let's come back here to 2009. On Christmas Day in 2009, a 23-year-old Nigerian, Umar Farouk Abdul Muttalab, attempted to bomb himself and 288 others on the United States Airlines en route Lagos through Amsterdam to Detroit. The 23-year-old man is from an influential Nigerian family. I won't say he was because he's still alive. Abdul Muttalab attempted to detonate plastic explosives hidden in his underwear while on board Northwest Airlines Flight 253 en route from Nigeria through Amsterdam to Detroit, Michigan. Now referred to as the underwear bomber or the Christmas Day bomber. He confessed to and was convicted for the crime. Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula claimed to have organized the attack with Abdul Muttalab. They said they supplied him with the bomb and trained him. Connections to Al-Qaeda and Anwar al-Awlaki have been found, although the latter denied ordering the man to do the bombing. Abdul Muttalab was convicted in the United States Federal Court of 8 federal criminal counts, including attempted use of a weapon of mass destruction and attempted murder of 289 people. On February 16, 2012, he was sentenced to 4 life terms plus 50 years without the possibility of parole. He is currently incarcerated at ADX Florence, the Supermax Federal Prison in Colorado, the United States of America. So he's cooling off there. But whether he's enjoying himself or not, that's what I cannot say. So Umar Farouk Abdul Muttalab, from an influential Nigerian family in Kaduna. So you can study about him, you can go online, look at the New York Times, and you can also look at some other online stories about the young lad. Then let's leave there and look at the 28th of December. 28th of December 2018, an elder statesman and former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Alhaji Shehu Usman Shagari, died of ailment at the Abuja National Hospital in Nigeria at about 6:30 p.m. local time. Nigeria's Second Republic President, Alhaji Shehu Shagari, died from a brief illness at the National Hospital, where he was admitted and was undergoing treatment. The elder statesman's demise was confirmed by his grandson, Bello Bala Shagari, and the then governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Waziri Tambuwa, in a tweet at the time of his death. Alhaji Shehu Shagari, who entered politics in 1951 when he became the secretary of the Northern People's Congress in Sokoto, a position he held until 1956, became Nigeria's president from 1st October 1979 until his government was toppled in a military rebellion led by President Muhammadu Buhari, while the latter was a military officer, on the 31st of December 1983. In 1954, Shehu Shagari had served as a member of the House of Representatives for Sokoto West, and in 1958 he was appointed a parliamentary secretary and left the post in 1959 to serve as the Federal Minister of Commerce and Industries. From 1965 until the Major Chukwuma Kaduna Zogu's military rebellion of January 1966, Shagari was the Federal Minister of Works. In 1967, he was appointed as the Secretary of Sokoto Province Education Development Fund. From 1968 to 1969, Shagari was given a state position in the northwestern state as Commissioner for Establishment. Following the Nigeria Civil War from 1970 to 1971, Shagari was appointed by the military head of state, General Yakubu Gowon as the Federal Commissioner for Economic Development, Rehabilitation and Reconstruction. From 1971 to 1975, he served as the Federal Minister for Finance. During his tenure as the Minister for Finance for Nigeria, Shagari was also Governor of the World Bank and a member of the International Monetary Fund Committee of 20. In 1978, Shagari became a founding member of the National Party of Nigeria, that is the NPN. In 1979, Shagari was chosen by the party as a presidential flag bearer for the general election that year, which he won in a close contest over Chief Obafemi Awolowo's Unity Party of Nigeria, the UPN, becoming the president and head of state of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Shagari ran for a second term of 4 years in 1983 and won the general election. However, on 31st December 1983, Shagari was overthrown by Major General Muhammadu Buhari. I'm going to recommend these books for you. You can read these books on Shagari. Shehu Shagari, Beacon to Serve, the autobiography. So Shagari himself wrote that book. Try and get the book and read it. You can get the book on eBay, online. You can also look at udarabooks.com. Then there's another one, Shehu Shagari, My Vision of Nigeria. Yes, another autobiography, but edited by Tijani Aminu and David Williams. So please try and get these books.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Ferdinand.
Hello, good morning, Aliu Garuba from Otonkon Road.
Thank you very much for having me, Mr. Ferdinand. I think the conversation has gone down well, looking out history. Yeah, based on what I said about the Abdul Mutallab. You see, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, whether it's Islamic fundamentalism, it was the creation of the CIA with the unflinching support of the Congress led by Democrats under President Ronald Reagan. You see, they wanted to send Russia out of Afghanistan, so they gave them a humongous amount of money and this. What I'm trying to essence is that when you look at the Abdul Mutallab saga, the tragedy that nearly rocked the country as at then. Okay, the same person was aligning with these people, but based on his father's certain observation, he has noticed that his attitude has changed and some kind of thing. This is somebody that would agree to do from the US to come to Nigeria on that same day go back. So he has been doing things that are very suspicious. So the father was on alert, red alert. So he has to even start conversing with the international community based on which he has noticed some kind of irregularities by his father.
The father even reported him.
The former chairman, board of directors of First Bank, who is Alhaji Abdul Mutallab, we have been now in a dungeon by now. So I think he did not get this issue. Then going further, okay, Mr. Ferdinand, we were talking about the war against indiscipline and corruption. Any society where there is no order, law and order, there will be no development. You see, common Ghana here, not common, sorry, when you go to Ghana here, you don't dispose things indiscriminately, just like the way all these things littered everywhere. So that is one of the major achievements during the military regime when Buhari was the military head of state. That is by and large. Then going further, we talk about Aliu Shagari, who was a speaker. I celebrate him, I eulogize him as a superhero. Yes, he has done this, but he was ousted by General Muhammadu Buhari, who was also ousted by nostalgia, trying to remember things down to memory date. So at this material point in time, I think nostalgia, trying to remember things down to memory date. So at this material point in time, I think I will appreciate you very well and thank you. I will appreciate you very well and thank you immensely for. He was only picked after long deliberation of more than 24 hours before he was now called to come and rule the country. And after some few months, he was ousted by General Ibrahim Babangida, of which he became for more than 2 years before he removed him. So I think Buhari did not partake in that coup d'etat of which saw the end of the Shagari regime. Thank you so much for this update. And let me still say my friend Comrade Ali, as we used to call him way back in the day. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much for your contribution. What you just said about Buhari's participation, I think, is basically on your personal opinion, because all the accounts we've read indicates that Buhari was part of that coup in 1983. Yes, he was not the original ringleader. We are told that Brigadier General Ibrahim Bako, who was killed by Shagari's guards in Abuja on the night of the rebellion, was the leader of that coup. But Buhari was part of it. As a matter of fact, we had about 7 or 8 officers who were part of that rebellion. The most senior among those officers was Major General Domkat Bali. He was the most senior among the group. Others were Major General Muhammadu Buhari, Major General Ibrahim Babangida, Brigadier General Aliu Guso, Brigadier General Joshua Dogoyaro, Brigadier General Sani Abacha, Brigadier General Babatunde Diagbon. Were all part of that group. That is the original ringleaders, or should I say the Kakus men, the inner Kakus. Hello, good morning. Your name? Okay, Mr. Isaac from Rayfield. You're welcome to the show. Your contribution, please.
I am talking in regard of what the other caller talked about. Why not being involved in this?
Carry on.
I want to, hello.
Carry on.
I want to remind him that Buhari is participating in that coup because of one Mr. Bamidele, one Bamidele, who reported to him about the coup. Buhari locked him up. They locked him one Major Bamidele like that.
Yeah, Major Daniel Idowu Bamidele, who was killed in was killed by firing squad on the 5th of March 1986.
To Buhari. So he was locked up after the coup. Then he was released. So Buhari is aware of the coup, not that he did not participate. He's aware.
Yeah, he's aware, and all the accounts we've read is that he even participated. So he was aware. So talking about Usman Shehu Shagari, I recommended 2 books that you should read about Shagari, and they are all autobiographies. The other one is Shehu Shagari, Become to Serve. And the other one is Shehu Shagari, My Vision of Nigeria. It's another autobiography, but edited by Tijani Yusuf and David Williams. Please read these books. Then we have already told you a lot about the Buhari coup of 1983, but let's just bring it again as a reminder. On 31st December 1983, the democratically elected national government of Nigeria, Alhaji Shehu Usman Shagari, was overthrown by a clique of the country's senior army officers. The 41-year-old general officer commanding of the 3rd Armored Division of the Nigerian Army here in Jos, Plateau State, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, emerged the head of state and new commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces. During the early hours of the morning of that day, the commander of the 9th Mechanized Brigade, Brigadier General Sani Abacha, had awoken Nigerians with the early morning announcement, ushering the new regime. So that is it. The number to call is 08064641536. Yes, you can call to make your contribution. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning. I'm Phil from Tina.
Okay, carry on.
I want to make a little correction or input. We can have this from 7 days at Tina. That is the 2 hours of it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. And as I told you about the Buhari regime, if you really want to know about the Buhari regime, read this book, Soldiers of Fortune. I've always said it. There are other accounts. But this is the most reliable and straight and direct conversation, because the author was able to talk to a lot of people who were insiders in that government. Talking about Mark Solium, Soldiers of Fortune, between 1983, because you see a lot of Soldiers of Fortune, like the one I'm holding now in my arm. This one is the Abacha and Obasanjo years, Nigeria Soldiers of Fortune, by the same author, Mark Solium. For those of you following us on social media, I know you can see the book now with me, right here with me. This one is the Abacha and Obasanjo years, and this one talks more about the failed transition to civil rule by General Ibrahim Babangida, then talking about the Abacha years in government, and also the Obasanjo years in government. But the other one, the between 1983 and 1993, still talk about Babangida though, but mostly it's about the Buhari years. You can read it. Soldiers of Fortune. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning, compliment of the children.
Same to you, sir.
The senior commander and line. I'll be getting from that inquiry.
Okay, welcome to the show. Your contribution, please.
You made my day and you keep on with it. History is very dynamic. Man who really forget history is likely to repeat it over again. About where I pity for him, the mistake we had made in this country was joining APC, joining politics. Today, Buhari has become natural after his military exploit. He made exploit in military. And of course, anyways, ISSIUES chairman, or what do you call it, PTF.
The Petroleum Trust Fund, PTF.
Thank you. When you go for Nigeria also, you can see some bosses can see from this. He's like Nigeria, and he's an uncorruptible human being. He's a Nigerian politician made him corrupt. That's why he didn't do it. He doesn't election like that. That put Buhari today in a very wrong Nigeria to that where I know I will say this because of this. Where he came and said, you go politician, what you are doing?
Passengers on board, including the incumbent vice, and replace it with the Provisional National Defense Council led by Flight Lieutenant Jerry Rawlings. Supported by lower-ranking soldiers, Rawlings seized power. It was J.J. Rawlings' second coming, and the combination of official corruption. Rawlings continued political activities even after claiming he had abstained from Ghana's politics. Yes, after the first coming, he claimed he had abstained from Ghana's political environment and deteriorating economic conditions doomed Liman's government. Rawlings then established the Provisional National Defense Council, PNDC, to rule the country, dissolve parliament, and ban all political parties. On the 21st of January 1982, Rawlings appointed a 16-member civilian government with a cabinet of secretaries and told them to serve the people sacrificially. The PNDC also assumed control of the Ministry of Defense. The Rawlings regime further consolidated its powers by promulgating PNDC Law 42, which suspended the constitution and gave the government wide powers over Ghanaian citizens. Shortly after seizing power, Rawlings took action against individuals who had allegedly committed crimes against the Ghanaian people. In January of 1982, for example, the PNDC ordered former members of the banned PNP and other undesirable elements to report themselves to the nearest police station or army barracks. The authorities detained some of these individuals and released others after registering their names. The police and army continued this roundup by arresting allegedly corrupt individuals who had served in the Liman government, former members of parliament, businessmen suspected of trading on black markets, and alleged coup plotters. On 30th June 1982, one or more members of the PNDC and their accomplices abducted and then murdered 3 High Court of Justice judges and the personnel director of the Ghana Industrial Holdings Corporation. Despite the popularity of the Rawlings regime, there were 2 coup attempts in late 1982 and in early 1983. On November 23, 1982, a group of soldiers tried to overthrow the regime, initiating hostilities at Gondar barracks. Government forces, however, defeated the rebels, and the police arrested more than 20 people. The other coup attempt occurred on February 27, 1983, when security forces arrested 9 soldiers and 2 civilians in Achimota, near Accra. The authorities claimed that they also discovered heavy machine guns, rockets, ammunition, and a list of people to be assassinated. Kojo Sikata, special advisor to the PNDC, also accused the United States Embassy of involvement in the coup attempt, but the Ghanaian government never proved these allegations. Challenges to the Rawlings regime continued throughout the 1980s. Between 1985 and 1986, for example, there were at least 7 coup attempts. On September 24th, 1989, 2 days after Rawlings had assumed direct command of the armed forces, the government announced that it had foiled yet another attempted coup. The attempt was led by Major Coleridge Akwashiga, a popular officer in the Ghanaian armed forces, former commandant of the Ghana military of Rawlings, were arrested. They were accused of planning to assassinate Rawlings as part of the coup, but several of the accused allegedly favored a return to constitutional rule under a civilian government. Despite the so-called Kwashiga affair and other attempted coups, Rawlings remained in control of the PNDC and armed forces, which he commanded from September of 1989 until June of 1990. An economic recovery program supported by the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank was adopted to improve the lives of Ghanaians. The Rawlings regime also acceded to popular demands for a democratic multi-party election. Despite these accomplishments, however, corruption, authoritarianism, and incompetence continue to be significant problems during the J.J. Rawlings regime in Ghana. If you want to read about Rawlings, there are books that I can recommend. One of the books, this very book, The Ghana Revolution. Try and get that book. The Ghana Revolution, From Nkrumah to Jerry Rawlings, by Ebenezer Babatope. Interestingly, a Nigerian wrote this book. Ebenezer Babatope wrote this book, The Ghana Revolution, From Nkrumah to Jerry Rawlings. Try and get this book. Study the book, read it, and thank me later. Also, there's another book, Revolution and Democracy in Ghana, The Politics of J.J. Rawlings, by Jeffrey Hines. Try and get this book as well. Then let's leave there. On 24 December 2018, a helicopter crash killed Marta Erika Alonso, the first female governor of the state of Puebla in Mexico, and her husband, Rafael Moreno Valas Rosas, a former governor. The newly elected governor and her husband, a serving senator at the time, and the former governor crashed on a hill in Coronango, near the city of Puebla. All 5 people on board the helicopter were killed in the crash. Alonso Moreno, the 2 pilots, Captain Roberto Copa Obregon and Captain Marco Antonio Tavera Romero, and an assistant to the senator. Alonso was 10 days into her term as governor at the time of the crash. The accident investigation found pre-existing problem with the stability system on the helicopter as a major issue. Though initially government did not accept the investigation report as they felt the governor was murdered, but later on it was accepted as it was just a mere technical challenge that resulted in the crash. They are living there. On 25th December 1831, that was on Christmas Day, the Great Jamaican Slave Revolt began against Jamaican British slave lords. Up to 20% of the island slaves mobilized in an ultimately unsuccessful fight for freedom, also known as the Baptist War, the Christmas Day Rebellion, the Christmas Uprising, or the Great Jamaican Slave Revolt of 1831 and 1832. It was an 11-day rebellion that started on December 25th, 1831, and involved up to 60,000 of the 300,000 slaves in Jamaica. The uprising was led by a black Baptist preacher, Samuel Sharp, and waged largely by his followers. The rebellion was quickly suppressed by British forces. The reaction of the Jamaican government and reprisals of the plantocracy were far more brutal. Approximately 500 slaves were killed, with 207 killed outright during the revolt. After the rebellion, an estimated 310 to 340 slaves were killed through various forms of judicial executions, at times for quite minor offenses. One recorded execution was for the theft of a pig, another a cow. An 1853 account by Harry Bleby described how the courts commonly executed 3 or 4 persons simultaneously Bodies were piled up until the black people relegated to the workhouse carted the bodies away at night and buried them in mass graves outside town. After the rebellion, property damage was estimated in the Jamaican Assembly summary report in March of 1832 at £1,152,000, equaling roughly £52 million in today's term. The planters suspected many missionaries of having encouraged the rebellion. Some, such as William Knibb, were arrested but later released. Groups of white colonials destroyed chapels that housed black congregations. As a result of the Baptist War, hundreds of slaves ran away into Cockpit County in order to avoid being forced back into slavery. The Maroons were only successful in apprehending a small number of these runaway slaves. Many runaway remained free and at large when the British Parliament passed the Act abolishing slavery in 1833. The brutality of the Jamaican plantocracy during the revolt is thought to have accelerated the British political process of emancipating the slaves. Parliament passed the Slavery Abolition Act 1833 for initial measures to begin in 1834, followed by partial emancipation outright for children 6 or under, 6 years apprenticeship for the rest in 1834, and then unconditional emancipation of chattel slavery in 1838. I'm just going to recommend one book to read about this Jamaican slave rebellion. The title of the book is Jamaican Slave Rebellion, The Jamaican Slave Rebellion by Alan Johnson. You can read this book. Then living there, on 29 December 1940, as a fallout of World War II, Nazi Germany unleashed a firebombing campaign on the city of London in what is today known as the Second Great Fire of London in England, killing almost 200 civilians. The Second Great Fire of London was one of the most destructive air raids inflicted by Nazi Germany on Great Britain during World War II. The Luftwaffe raid caused fires over an area greater than that of the Great Fire of London in 1666, leading one American correspondent to say in a cable to his office that the Second Great Fire of London has begun. Fire started by the raid included an incendiary bomb that broke through the dome of St. Paul's Cathedral, which was being guarded by a fire watch team at the behest of Prime Minister Winston Churchill. On the night of 29 to 30 December 1940, approximately 100,000 bombs fell on the city of London. The Germans dispatched 136 bombers to the city. Fewer incendiaries were dropped than in the raid of 15 November or 8 December. The raid was focused on part of the city that contained many non-residential buildings such as churches, offices, and warehouses. Many of these were locked and were not covered by fire watchers. Incendiary bombs were the main armament that night. Well, that's it. Then on the 30th of December 2006, former president of Iraq, Saddam Hussein, was executed by hanging. This we're going to talk about this when we come back here next week. Then one book to study about World War II. There are a lot of accounts you can read about World War II. A lot of accounts online. You can go on Amazon, you can go on eBay. A lot of accounts you can study. Then on Saddam Hussein, there are books I'm going to recommend to you. A biography by Dr. Shiva Balagi. Saddam Hussein is a book. Then the other one, My Year in Iraq, The Struggle by Paul Bremer. Try and read these books. You can get more stories about Saddam Hussein on these very books. We really do want to thank you for being part of the show today. We hope you enjoy the package. We really don't want to apologize for those of you that were not able to take your calls. By next week, we'll take a lot of them. Thank you very much, and on behalf of every member of my production team here, I'm wishing you a Merry Christmas. For sponsorship drive, please call Ayuba Adams on 08032851135, and you could always follow us on Facebook at Ferdinand Mbum on Facebook. Then History Desk TV also on Facebook. Then on Instagram, on X, and on TikTok on History Desk TV. Issues and Perspectives, a production of History Desk TV Limited, and I am your presenter, Mbum Ferdinand, signing out and urging all of you out there to enjoy yourself during this festivity.
This is the only station that is authorized to